happy Monday. Jackie Broman here from TBA Law. So, Monday mornings, Facebook Live, I do a short snippet of legal information for you. I just finished a 5-part series on the different types of structures that you can run a small business in. And prior to that, I've done a couple of series on buying and selling property, leasing, living in the community with your neighbours, and also probably 6 months worth of videos on estate planning and deceased estates, because that's my specialty. But for the next few weeks up until Christmas, I'm doing a short series on separations. So family split-ups. And I think after today, there might only be 4 more Mondays until Christmas. So I hate bringing that to people's attention in case you are unprepared. So today I wanted to talk about separation, settlement and divorce. So the main reason I wanted to talk about this was to clarify what each of those things are, because people often get confused, and it's part of the anxiety around a separation. It's bad enough that the emotional turmoil of separating from a long-term partner, but also then there's the anxiety around the unknown of what to do, what the steps are, all those sorts of things. So separation first. A separation happens whether you're married, whether you're de facto, whether you're same sex, no matter what. It's all pretty much same legal rights these days. Whether you qualify as de facto or not is something that you should get legal advice on. But basically, the separation happens. You can be separated under the one roof, but usually it's when one of the parties moves out. And realistically, I know that it's going to be really difficult emotionally, but it is a really good idea to diarise some of these things that happen. Because we're going to need dates when it comes down to the crunch. And if you haven't, you don't come and see a lawyer for 6 to 12 months after the separation, you might not remember the exact date off the top of your head. So start keeping a diary. So separation happens. Then people immediately start thinking, well, divorce, kids, financials, okay? So those 3 things are separate things as well. You're going to want to have arrangements for your children. You're going to want to do a financial settlement. And divorce happens regardless of those other 2 things. So you don't need to trigger a divorce to do a financial settlement. Divorce is quite often the final step for people at the very end, and sometimes not even necessary. So divorce can't happen until you're separated for 12 months. So a lot of people, particularly with children's matters, want to get all sorts of agreements in place within that 12 months. You can see that you wouldn't want to wait 12 months after separating before you started dealing with arrangements for your kids or separating your property interests. So think about those things each individually rather than as a whole. If you look at it all as a whole, it can be quite overwhelming, but just approach things step by step. So you've separated, start keeping a diary. Start thinking about children's arrangements. Your first step is not necessarily to come to a lawyer. You have to do mediation unless there's family violence involved. So go off and see one of the family relationship centres or Relationships Australia for mediation about the kids. Then come and see a solicitor, because we can draw up any arrangement formally for the kids, and we can start dealing with a financial settlement as well. Finally, 12 months after separation, and you've got these other things well and truly going, you can think about divorce, whether it's necessary or not. It can be a decision made at that time rather than thinking about that for the first 12 months at all. Okay? So this is a very broad overview, just so we get those concepts in mind, because over the next 4 weeks I'll talk about some of the things in more detail, particularly around what a court looks at in terms of a property settlement, what the process is for a divorce. So those things are coming up over the next couple of weeks. But with the emotional turmoil going on of a separation, let's try and limit the overwhelm of then what are the legal steps. All right, separation is a legal step within itself. You've separated, you don't need to see a lawyer. Once you've separated, just start keeping a diary. Next step is kids, next step is property. Sometimes those two go parallel. Obviously, if you don't have kids, you go straight into looking at a property settlement, and then divorce 12 months after separation. Okay? So, I mean, it's not really a nice topic coming up to Christmas either, but it fits in quite nicely into the 5 weeks. So we're doing this short series on divorce and family separation. So I will be back again next Monday with the second of the series that we're doing on family law up until Christmas. So I hope you have a really great week. I hope that me talking that there's only 5 weeks till Christmas gets you starting to prepare. And I'll see you next Monday. Have a great week.